In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Shop AEW exclusive 1 of 3,000 Kazuchika Okada figure. Very excited for this figure, man. This is going to be my first ever Okada figure. Now, back in the day, we did review the Super 7 figures, but I reviewed those for a friend. I did not have those in my collection to own, and something tells me that this figure is going to be a lot better than those Super 7 figures all those years ago. But you can see here, we have changed up the packaging for the Shop AEW exclusive. You can see up top, everything is different compared to the traditional Shop AEW exclusive packaging we had been seeing, you know, in the traditional foil with the sticker and, you know, the artwork around, but it still looks pretty good here. You can see Okada through the front. You have a nice shot of Okada here, AEW logo, you got some black and red, you got the AEW 1 of 3,000 sticker right there, and then you do have a front viewing window. Have his name down there. Is that not the damn Mavericks font right here behind here? This Okada right there? Swear to God, that's the Dallas Mavericks. But anyways, exclusive Jazwares logo. Got his name on the side there. Number 12 for the Shop AEW exclusives. And on the back, you do get a nice shot of Okada with his signature there. Not too bad. And that is our packaging for this Okada, man. But, I mean, Okada has such a crazy aura around him just because of his popularity, his rise in New Japan, his bangers with Kenny Omega and other talents over there. And this is a guy that people have been making customs of. He's kind of in that Kenny Omega, that Will Ospreay, that Jay White, where people have been making customs of this guy for years upon years. And we've never really had a 2-scale great modern wrestling action figure of the guy until now. And now we get to plug him into our collections officially, and I think this is going to be a damn good one. So we'll have to see about that by the end of the video, man. But what we're going to do is crack him out of the packaging, find out what Okada's all about. We'll get into some comparisons, and at the end, we'll hit you up with some figure photography, of course. But with that being said, man, let's crack this Shop AEW 1 of 3,000 Okada out of the packaging. So here we have Okada out of the packaging, man, and I'm digging this figure a lot. I like a lot of the details we have going on here, but I don't think we can fully undress it and know what we have until we dive into all the details of the figure, of course. What we're going to do is take a look at the accessories that come with the Okada Shop AEW figure, and then we will take a closer look at Kazuchika Okada himself and find out where he fits into the collection and see if this is indeed worth the pickup, man. So with that being said, let's get into these accessories, and then we'll move it over to Okada himself. So for the accessories that you get with your Okada Shop AEW figure, we do get some quality accessories right here, which I do like. We can start things off with the cloth robe here, which is pretty sweet. Of course, no bendy wire or anything in there, but you do get some cool dragon graphics in there. You can see some dollar bills falling down right there, and you get like a floral pattern mixed with a dragon. It's kind of this light gold, sort of beige-ish, whitey, creamy looking color, which looks pretty good for the most part. I think it looks nice. You know, it's nothing over the top or bedazzled or any bright and shining colors, but I mean, this is what you love to see out of this line, man. If this was rubber, I would throw it the hell out in the yard, but the fact that it is cloth, it moves well, it's well made, it fits the figure well. No complaints out of me, man. I love the dragon graphics. You even have the collar in there for the trench coat or the robe or the entrance jacket, and it looks damn nice. I like it a lot. I don't know what you could really argue about this. This is the kind of quality goods you like to see on your wrestling action figures, and it fits nicely on this Okada. And I think another thing people are going to be really excited about is our first time in the line Continental Championship here with the crown in the middle. Now, it is pretty much all one color, and it blends in a bit, but that's kind of what the Continental Championship looks like. It's just gold and black for the most part. I don't think there's any other colors on there. No silver or anything, but I do like the attention to the buckles here on the edge, and I just think it looks pretty damn good, man. I like the scaling of it. It looks clean. It feels nice. You can actually clasp it together, which is a nice thing as well. It is a little bit stiff, but I'd rather it be a little bit more stiff than being soft and, you know, pliable and not being able to plug in there. So I like this Continental Championship, man. Really love to see it, and you love to see first time in line titles, and it comes with our Okada right here. And then for your interchangeable hands, you do get the normal grappling, weapon wielding / mic holding hands. And then you get a pair of kind of those off shooter hands that come with Kenny Omega and stuff, but you could use these for a bunch of different entrances and different things going on. You know, they're just kind of, I think they're just supposed to be like relaxed sort of posing style hands or whatever, so you can do a lot with these, but we have seen this mold before. So we're diving into Okada, man, at the top of the head sculpt. I think this is pretty good likeness for the most part. I know a lot of people, when they were making their customs of Okada back in the day, they used a rock head sculpt a lot. It was like the Elite 47. For whatever reason, and it looked pretty good. I thought that it was pretty decent. They would resculpt the hair. There were some pretty fantastic customs out there, and I feel like you could possibly see the rock a little bit in here, maybe. I don't know. You can let me know about that. But hair sculpt does look good. I feel like the head is oversized, though, and you can't really tell looking at the figure by itself, but when you get into some comparisons, I feel like you see it more. But we have also seen this torso before. I think it's kind of the Takeshita torso, and pretty much the whole build of Takeshita, if I'm not mistaken, like the full formula, I think, with the different head sculpt, and we'll see that when we get into the comparisons. But you do get the elbow pad there, black wrist tape. Really dig this gear with like the silver, white, cream colors that go all around, kind of like a mosaic looking deal with black. And so it's pretty good gear here overall. Not the most over the top, but I think, that's what you get here. I think it looks pretty nice though. Knee pads match the rest of the gear, which looks pretty good. Got the beefy thighs, and then you do get the white lower legs with the tall white boots, which Okada is known for, which look pretty good. I like all these laces and sculpts. They all look pretty damn nice here. And I don't know, man, not bad. This weird stuff going on with the hair, they have it blonde, and then they just put like a dark wash over the bottom part. And I think it does look like his haircut for the most part. It's just, you get some splotchiness coming through, but it's not the biggest deal. I think it looks pretty damn good. And I like the facial expression. I like how he's just kind of pissed off there. But as far as Okada is concerned on articulation, man, he can look down okay. He just has a noggin on the man. I mean, he has a big head sculpt, and he's a big figure. I mean, he's pretty big, man, which I know people we're going to worry about the scaling, which we'll get into when we get into the comparisons. But ab crunch is pretty decent, all things considered. You get a pretty good one out of most AEW figures. Shoulders go above 90. Full rotation here, you get bicep swivel. The elbow pad's going to prevent, but you do get double jointed arms, so you shouldn't have any issues there. Wrists do hinge and swivel, of course. You do get some nice upper diaphragm pivoting and moving right here. Waist swivel, will pop off, so you don't get that really. And then it can kick up a little less than 90. He can go out to the side about 90 there. You get upper thigh cut. You get a pretty smooth double jointed knee. You get boot rotation. You get a great ankle rocker. And then the ankles do go up and down right there, the feet, if you will. And I do like the structure of the figure in terms of, how it moves and everything like that. I think what my biggest issue with this figure is going to be what is with a lot of AEW figures, and that is going to be the scale here. But let's get into some comparisons here with this Kazuchika Okada. And I think one of the big things people want to see is Kenny Omega up next to Okada here. And you'll see this is the newest Kenny that we've seen, and it is the Walmart exclusive Kenny Omega, which is a damn good figure. You can get it at your Walmart right now. But you can just kind of see how much bigger this figure is. And not that Okada's not taller than Kenny, because he is. But just look at the sheer size difference here. And I'm sure there's probably like a formula thing you can do to kind of fix this in some way. But look at their head sizes, man. I mean, he is just so much bigger here. And I think, when we get into the photography, I think you're going to be able to get away with it when you're posing them around wrestling and stuff like that. It's just, when they're standing here like this, like if they were standing beside each other, it just looks kind of crazy to me. And maybe I'm wrong, you can let me know. I just think that's the biggest issue facing this Okada figure. But I do want to bring in some other notables as well so you guys can see some other comparisons with Okada. And for some more comparisons, here we have just a few notable names here. We do have the ringside exclusive Jay White, the Walmart exclusive Kenny Omega, the Shop AEW exclusive Will Ospreay, and then we do have the ringside exclusive Takeshita here. And you can see the formulas of Takeshita and Okada, I think, are the exact same. You're just getting a repaint and a change of head sculpt. They even came with long trench coats and everything. And I would say if you remove Takeshita, this is kind of your Mount Rushmore of custom guys made outside of WWE. Young Bucks you could throw in there probably. Lots of Adam Coles back in the day, Marty Scurlls, things like that. But I would say your pillar four outside of the Bucks would probably be Will Ospreay, Okada, Kenny Omega, and Jay White. And the fact that we actually have all of those in modern action figures for our wrestling collection is huge. And I thank God for AEW for that, because if anybody's been a collector for a long time around this community, you know how valuable those guys were to different collections and customs across the board, especially, dating back to 2014, 2015. And it's just crazy to see the growth and to see all the different figures that led up to these moments. To seeing these guys is just crazy, but yeah, the Okada I just think is a tad too big. I think it's just the overall structure of the figure, kind of like an Edge or something like that, it's too big. Jeff Hardy is in the same boat where they're so close, but it can turn some people away, I fear. So, again, I think you can get away with it. I just think that the situation is going to depend on some different things. But I still like that we have this Okada figure, and it's still a fun figure, I think, overall. Sorry, man, what is the final verdict on this Shop AEW 1 of 3,000 exclusive Kazuchika Okada action figure from AEW and Jazwares, man? I think at the end of the day, you're getting a mixed bag. Now, do I think it's a pretty good representation of Okada? I do. I like the head sculpt. I think the gear's sweet. I love the entrance robe. The championship is nice. But again, it all goes back to some of the issues we have seen across the Jazwares line where they make really impressive figures, but the scaling here really bothers me. Now, if you pose it around in the ring, you can check out some of this photography. Can you get away with it in a fetting sense, in a photography sense? I think you can. I think you can manipulate it, and it's not the biggest deal overall. But it does bother me. I'm not going to lie. It does bother me when it's standing up next to Kenny Omega, and I know he's taller than Kenny Omega, but I think it's the head size versus the height versus different parts of his body, and there's probably a formula out there that you could play around with and make him a little bit shorter maybe, but that head sculpt's pretty damn big, and I think that the likeness is good. Again, I think it's a good representation of Okada, and I love the fact that I actually have an articulated, well-represented modern version of an Okada in wrestling figure form. I just think that the scaling issue is very, very upsetting to me. It's one of my biggest pet peeves about action figures in general is when they don't really scale together. Now, if you're collecting across lines, which this is in this case, when you compare it to WWE and things like that, but as far as your own line, man, you gotta keep them in scale because it kind of defeats your whole universe that you're going for there. And I think that, it's kind of like a Jax Rey Mysterio where he's the same height as Big Show or the same height as Triple H or whatever the case is. And it just kind of completely takes me out of it. And, I really want to like this figure. And I do like this figure in certain ways. It's just, can you look past the scaling and all those things? I think that that's going to be your biggest issue there. But as far as everything else, it really is damn good. I think it represents the character well. Love the championship, like I said. Robe is nice. Attire is nice. It's a damn good figure. It's just, can you see past the scaling issue? And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think that's what it's going to come down to for you as you, make the decision on putting this figure in your collection or not. But at the end of the day, I do enjoy it. I think that, if the scaling thing's not a thing for you, then yeah, man. Absolutely pick it up. I think it's well worth it. But yeah, that's kind of my full thoughts on this Okada figure, man. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below on this figure. Please let me know. Is it a deal breaker? Is it not, man? Let me know all those things down in the comment section. But that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me, man. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. I'd love to know your thoughts again down in the comment section below. Huge shout out to the Patreon members, man. Appreciate all you fellas so very much. As always, man, you guys are unbelievably goated, and I appreciate all of you so very much. But I'm getting the hell out, man. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.